from trying to haul the rock up these steep hills on Angel Island to build all the roads. So they found this place to quarry rock, mostly serpentine, and they stuck this rock crusher here. They put a man-made pressurized pond behind it to run it. You can still see the conveyor belt on the left-hand side behind the tree. But it's just basically a really cool old piece of machinery. There was a crusher on the top of the roof trying to slap the right down, and then you see those chutes at the bottom. They would shoot them out into that, and then as I understand, they had like a conveyor belt with screens and smaller rocks and bigger rocks. All the roads and trails on Angel Island were built from rocks from this rock crusher. We have a bump coming up. You can either go around the right of it, or you can go over it. Isn't it pretty today?
Very beautiful. Yeah, this is going on YouTube today. Yeah, today's opening day, is it? For the bay, is what they're calling it. It's I guess it's like the beginning of summer or something in the bay, you know? They have all these boats out here. It's beautiful.
So if you guys can see that point right off to my right, your left, that's Point Blunt. Also, there used to be a camp out there called Camp Blunt. The soldiers nicknamed it Camp Pneumonia because whenever they'd go out there, they'd get sick and catch pneumonia. Angel Island's the only place in the whole United States that had 3 lighthouses at one time. There used to be a lighthouse out there. Actually, it was more of a fog bell house because it didn't have a light till later years. But the fog bell keeper's name was Julia Fish Nichols, and it was her job to wind up the bell every 4 hours and make sure it keeps going so no ships crashed into the point. And to kind of signal where Angel Island was. July 2nd of 1906, a lot of ships were coming in to rebuild San Francisco after the fire and earthquake. And the fog rolled in and her bell broke. So she went out there and sat with a hammer. And she hit the bell every 15 seconds, 20 hours, and 35 minutes until the fog cleared. I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't be able to hear anything, and my arm would be dead.
Every 15 seconds?
For 20 hours and 35 minutes.
She's a champ.
Yes, so she's one of the local Angel Island heroines, and she got an accommodation from the Lighthouse Association for doing that. But that was Julia Fish Nichols, July 2nd of 1906.
Was Angel Island hit hard by the quake?
Actually not too bad. And I read that a lot of people that lived out here when it happened, like the Pearl family, they were civilian dairy farmers out here. They said they watched the towers of fire and stuff in San Francisco, and they just mostly just sat over here and watched it. So her account, her name is what's her first name? It's Pearl though, and it's not like beach pearl, like P-E-R-L-E. So Pearl family though, but her account, she sat down and she's like 85 years old, and she lived on the island for like 30 or 40 years.
Wow.
And she wrote about, you know, the earthquake and the fire, and watching the pillars of smoke and fire across the bay. And, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the fresh water mixing with the salt water.
That's what those lines are, huh?
Smell the freshness.
I was wondering about that, yeah.
That's a red-faced hawk, not a red-tailed hawk, a red-faced hawk.
Red-faced?
And that little building up there on the hill